They burn these individuals in a 55-gallon drum using diesel because diesel burns slower.
They are killing machines. Killing machines with no soul.
Ever wondered what it would be like to live on the edge of a world of danger, intrigue, and adrenaline-fueled action? Gang members of Los Zetas do not have to imagine it. It is their reality. Los Zetas was born out of a strategic alliance with the Gulf Cartel. The creation of Los Zetas can be traced back to the late 1990s, when Osiel Cardenas Guillen, the leader of the Gulf Cartel, was embroiled in a violent turf war. To bolster his organization's strength and protect his leadership, Cardenas sought the expertise of Decena, a retired army lieutenant. Decena, in a calculated move, lured over 30 elite deserters from the Grupo Aeromóvil de Fuerzas Especiales to become his bodyguards and eventually form the backbone of his mercenary wing, which was known as Los Zetas. These former GAFE members were moved by significantly higher salaries than they received in the military, and some even underwent training in commando and urban warfare by the Israeli and US Special Forces. With their military background and Decena's strategic leadership, Los Zetas quickly evolved into a force to be reckoned with, executing operations with military precision. Decena's recruits proved to be formidable assets, as the Gulf Cartel faced fierce opposition and challenges from rival drug cartels and the Mexican army. Los Zetas' ranks grew with highly trained individuals in combat and counterinsurgency tactics capable of ruthless efficiency. They wielded their power with extreme violence, executing rivals and striking fear into the hearts of their enemies. In 2010, following the capture and extradition of Cardenas, the infamous leader of the Gulf Cartel, Los Zetas saw a significant rise in power. They surpassed the Gulf Cartel in revenue, membership, and overall influence, creating an imbalance in the criminal underworld. The cartel, concerned about the growing influence of Los Zetas, attempted to limit the authority of their own enforcers, which led to internal conflict and triggered a civil war within the organization. The cartel accused Los Zetas of expanding their criminal activities beyond their agreed-upon scope, which included murder, theft, extortion, and kidnapping. In response, Los Zetas defended themselves by claiming that the cartel had originally created them to carry out such actions under their orders. They also claimed that the cartel was using them as scapegoats for killing innocent civilians. There are conflicting reports on what exactly led to the formal split between the two groups. Some sources suggest that Guillen, Cardenas' brother, and one of the Gulf Cartel's successors engaged in destructive behavior, including gambling, drugs, and promiscuity, which Los Zetas perceived as a threat to their organization. Other reports point to a disagreement over who would assume leadership of the cartel after Cardenas' extradition. The cartel's candidates were Guillen and Jorge Eduardo Costilla Sanchez, while Los Zetas favored their own leader, Lascano. Additionally, the cartel explored the possibility of forming a truce with their rival, the Sinaloa cartel, a move Los Zetas opposed, preferring an alliance with the Beltran Leyva cartel. The situation escalated further when a lieutenant of the Gulf Cartel, Samuel Flores Borrego, killed a prominent Los Zetas lieutenant, Sergio Peña Mendoza, due to a dispute over the drug corridor in Reynosa. Tensions increased when Los Zetas requested that the cartel turn over the murderer. As the conflict intensified, the Gulf Cartel formed alliances with former adversaries, such as the Sinaloa cartel and La Familia Michoacana, to eliminate Los Zetas. In response, Los Zetas sought support from other drug cartels, intruding the Beltran Leyva cartel, the Juarez cartel, and the Tijuana cartel. This internal strife and the ensuing alliances reshaped the criminal landscape in Mexico, leading to a violent and deadly struggle for dominance among the drug cartels. The rivalry between Los Zetas and the Gulf Cartel remains one of the significant factors contributing to the ongoing drug war in the region. Los Zetas' modus operandi was unlike any other cartel in Mexico. Instead of seeking alliances or purchasing loyalty, they used sheer terror and brutality to maintain control. Their reputation for inflicting horrific acts of violence was unmatched, setting a new benchmark for the cruelty witnessed during the modern Mexican drug wars. While other cartels sought to secure alliances and maintain business through negotiation, the Zetas preferred to take military-style control of territory, holding it through sheer force and exploiting its criminal opportunities. They became notorious for their shock and awe tactics, resorting to gruesome methods to instill fear and and send a chilling message to their rivals and those who dared to cross them. As Los Zetas gained notoriety, their brutality spread like wildfire, inciting escalating violence throughout Mexico. Rival cartels struggling against the Zetas began to adopt some of their tactics, further ramping up the bloodshed and chaos in the country. The consequences of the Zetas' brutality were far-reaching, as other organized crime groups subsequently copied their military methods to ensure their survival. The violence in Mexico escalated to much higher levels and took on new forms. Torture, public displays of victims, flaying, and castration became disturbingly common in the drug war landscape. Arturo Guzman de Sena, also known as Z1, was born into poverty in a small village in Puebla, Mexico, on January 13, 1976. Seeking a way out of his impoverished circumstances, he joined the Mexican military as a teenager. Due to his exceptional skills and aggressive nature, Guzman de Sena earned a position in the elite military unit Grupo Aeromóvil de Fuerzas Especiales. This group was initially trained in counterinsurgency tactics to address the Zapatista uprising in 1994 and to combat drug trafficking organizations in Mexico. Guzman de Sena and his GAFE unit were deployed during the Zapatista rebellion to quell the uprising. They swiftly took down 34 rebels and captured 3 others, showing ruthless brutality by mutilating the bodies. His actions marked him as a skilled but brutal member of the GAFE. After his success in Chiapas, Guzman de Sena was sent to Tamaulipas, where he served as the security chief in Miguel Aleman during this time. He caught the attention of Osiel Cardenas Guillen, the leader of the Gulf Cartel. Guzman de Sena began accepting bribes from Cardenas Guillen and ignoring the cartel's drug shipments while still in the military. However, he took an unprecedented step by defecting from the army in 1997 to work full-time for the Gulf Cartel. Arturo Guzman de Sena's defection from the military to join a criminal organization was unprecedented, marking a significant shift in the dynamics between drug cartels and the military in Mexico. The defection marked the formation of Los Zetas, as he started recruiting other soldiers from the Mexican military to join the criminal organization. Contrary to some media reports, Los Zetas did not result from a mass defection of a single army unit, but involved soldiers from various military units. Guzman de Sena, given the codename Z1, quickly rose to prominence within Los Zetas and commanded a mercenary army of 38 defected soldiers, enticed by higher salaries than those offered by the Mexican government. They brought with them advanced weaponry, including machine guns, assault rifles, grenades, and surveillance equipment, which further bolstered the criminal organization's capabilities. Under Guzman de Sena's leadership, Los Zetas expanded their role by collecting debt, securing cocaine supply and trafficking routes, and brutally executing their adversaries. He was Osiel Cardenas Guillen's second in command until he was shot dead on November 21, 2002 by Mexican Army Special Forces in Matamoros, Tamaulipas. Another notorious Los Zetas gang member was Rogelio González Pisaña. Rogelio González Pisaña, known as Z2 or El Quelín, played a significant role in the criminal world as a Mexican drug lord and one of the founding members of Los Zetas. Unlike other founders, he did not have a background in the Mexican armed forces. Born on March 1, 1974, González Pisaña rose to prominence in the late 1990s when the Gulf Cartel's leader, Osiel Cardenas Guillen, sought protection against his rivals. González Pisaña held the second-in-command position in Los Zetas, just below Guzman de Sena. Together, they conducted covert operations in northern Mexico, eliminating rival cartel members and consolidating the Gulf Cartel's regional dominance. Because of his role in drug trafficking, the U.S. Treasury imposed sanctions on González Pisaña pursuant to the Foreign Narcotics Kingpin Designation Act, forbidding any economic engagement with him and freezing his U.S. assets. González Pisaña was arrested in Matamoros, Tamaulipas, by federal agents and the now disbanded Policía Federal Preventiva on October 29, 2004. On January 21, 2014, he was convicted and sentenced to 16 years in jail. However, on August 30, 2014, González Pisaña was released from prison after a court in Guadalajara, Jalisco changed his original 16-year sentence, replacing it with a new one of 6 years and 3 days in prison, which accounted for the time he had already served since his arrest. Despite his release, the DEA continued investigating his involvement in drug trafficking and threats made to 2 U.S. federal agents in Matamoros in 1999. Gonzalez Pisaña and his family were murdered on December 6, 2015, in Matamoros, Mexico, by gunmen believed to be Gulf Cartel members. After his death, power swiftly moved to Heriberto Lascano Lascano. Heriberto Lascano Lascano, known as Z3 and El Lasca, was a notorious Mexican drug lord and the leader of the powerful Los Zetas drug cartel. Born on December 25, 1974, in Apan, Hidalgo, Mexico, Lascano joined the Mexican army at 17 and eventually became part of the elite Grupo Aeromóvil de Fuerzas Especiales, specialized in combating guerrillas and drug trafficking operations. While in the military, he received training from the Israeli Defense Forces and the United States Army. In 1998, Lascano deserted the army and was recruited by Ociel Cardenas Guillén and Arturo Guzmán de Sena to join Los Zetas, a paramilitary group formed to serve the Gulf Cartel. Lascano's nickname, El Verdugo, stemmed from his ruthless methods, including feeding victims to lions and tigers on his ranch. Under Lascano's leadership, Los Zetas grew in power. They recruited former soldiers, ex-caibiles from Guatemala, police officers, and street thugs. His military background allowed him to instill a military culture within the cartel, organizing his members like a disciplined military force. Lascano expanded the organization's criminal activities beyond drug trafficking, including kidnapping, human trafficking, and extortion. Lascano formed alliances with other cartels, including the Beltran Leyva cartel and the Juarez cartel. However, in 2010, Los Zetas broke ties with the Gulf Cartel, leading to a violent turf war in northeastern Mexico. He was linked to numerous killings, including journalist Francisco Ortiz Franco, whose assassination was particularly brutal. About 10,000 armed men were employed by Lascano's criminal empire, and they operated from Central America to the Rio Grande. As one of Mexico's most wanted drug lords, Lascano was hunted by American and Mexican authorities, with significant bounties placed on his head. He was known by several aliases such as Z3, El Lasca, El Bronque, and El Verdugo. Despite his involvement in numerous murders and drug trafficking, Lascano managed to remain elusive, avoiding opulence and maintaining a low profile. On October 7, 2012, Lascano died in a shootout with the Mexican Navy in Progreso, Coahuila. After his death, gunmen stormed the funeral home and retrieved his body. Lascano's low-profile behavior and lack of public image made it difficult for the Navy to identify him immediately. Lascano's military intelligence background and avoidance of luxury and attention made him a mysterious figure in the world of drug trafficking. If you like this video, you will love our next one.